Sophia Martinez had always been a woman who thrived on structure and routine. As a 32-year-old marketing executive in New Jersey, her life was a whirlwind of deadlines, meetings, and late-night emails. But one particularly grueling week after losing a major client and pulling yet another all-nighter, Sophia decided enough was enough. She booked a last-minute vacation to a luxurious resort in Montego Bay, Jamaica, hoping the tropical paradise would help her recharge. From the moment she stepped off the plane, Sophia was enveloped by the island's vibrant energy. The resort was a dream: crystal clear waters, palm trees swaying in the breeze, and the scent of hibiscus flowers filling the air. On her first evening, she dined at the beachfront restaurant, savoring jerk chicken and a refreshing rum punch. It was there that she noticed him, Kadeem Brown, a tall, handsome man with a warm smile and an easygoing demeanor. He introduced himself as a local tour guide and offered to show her the real Jamaica beyond the resort. Sophia hesitated at first, but something about Kadeem's charm put her at ease. They spent the evening talking under the stars, sharing stories about their lives. Kadeem spoke passionately about his love for Jamaica, its culture, and its people. By the end of the night, Sophia felt a spark she hadn't felt in years. She agreed to let Kadeem take her on a tour the next day, eager to see the island through his eyes. The next morning, Kadeem arrived at the resort in a brightly painted Jeep, ready to show Sophia the hidden gems of Jamaica. Their first stop was Dunn's River Falls, where they climbed the cascading waterfalls together, laughing as they slipped on the rocks. Sophia felt a sense of freedom she hadn't experienced in years, and Kadeem's playful energy was contagious. As the days went by, Kadeem took Sophia to local markets where she sampled exotic fruits and spices, and to a reggae concert under the stars, where they danced until their feet hurt. Sophia was captivated by Kadeem's passion for life and his deep connection to his homeland. She found herself opening up to him in ways she hadn't with anyone else, sharing her dreams, fears, and the loneliness she often felt despite her success. By the end of the week, Sophia knew she was falling for Kadeem. When it was time to leave, she extended her vacation by another week, unable to tear herself away from him. Kadeem seemed equally smitten, and their connection deepened with each passing day. Sophia felt like she was living in a dream, one she never wanted to end. Back in New Jersey, Sophia struggled to adjust to her old routine. The bustling city felt cold and impersonal compared to the warmth of Jamaica. She missed Kadeem terribly, but they stayed in touch through daily video calls and messages. Kadeem's voice was a comforting constant in her life, and their conversations often lasted late into the night. A few months later, Kadeem surprised Sophia by visiting her in New Jersey. It was his first time in the U.S., and Sophia was eager to show him her world. They explored the city together, from the bright lights of Times Square to the serene beauty of Central Park. Kadeem was fascinated by the fast-paced lifestyle, but he also noticed how stressed Sophia often seemed. He encouraged her to slow down and enjoy the little things, just as she had in Jamaica. Their time together solidified their bond, and they began discussing a future together. Kadeem talked about his dream of traveling the world, and Sophia found herself imagining a life where they could explore it together. When Kadeem returned to Jamaica, they made plans for Sophia to visit again soon. Their love felt like a bridge between two worlds, and Sophia was determined to make it work. Sophia's next trip to Jamaica was filled with even more adventure and romance. Kadeem took her to a secluded beach at sunset, where a picnic blanket was laid out with candles and flowers. As the sky turned shades of pink and orange, Kadeem got down on one knee and pulled out a simple but beautiful ring. "Sophia, you've brought so much joy into my life," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. "I can't imagine my future without you. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Sophia's face as she nodded, overwhelmed with happiness. They celebrated with a bottle of champagne, toasting to their love and the life they would build together. The next few days were a blur of excitement as they shared the news with their families. Sophia's parents were thrilled, though they expressed concerns about the challenges of a long-distance marriage. Kadeem's family welcomed Sophia with open arms, and she felt a sense of belonging she hadn't expected. As they began planning their wedding, Sophia felt like she was living in a fairy tale. Sophia and Kadeem's wedding was a small, intimate ceremony in Jamaica, surrounded by his family and a few of her closest friends. The day was perfect, filled with love, laughter, and the rhythmic beats of reggae music. After the wedding, Sophia filed the necessary paperwork for Kadeem to move to New Jersey with her. Adjusting to married life in New Jersey wasn't without its challenges. Kadeem struggled with the fast-paced lifestyle and the cold winters, but Sophia did her best to make him feel at home. She introduced him to her friends, took him to her favorite spots in the city, and even cooked Jamaican dishes to remind him of home. Despite the occasional cultural clashes, their love continued to grow. Kadeem found work as a tour guide for a local travel agency, sharing his passion for Jamaica with others. Sophia felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't known before, grateful to have found a partner who understood and supported her. A few months into their marriage, Kadeem told Sophia that his sister, Shanice, and her 2 children were planning to visit for 6 months. Sophia was excited to meet more of Kadeem's family and immediately began preparing for their arrival. She cleared out the guest room, stocked up on groceries, and even bought toys for the children. When Shanice and her children arrived, Sophia went out of her way to make them feel welcome. She took them sightseeing, cooked meals together, and helped the kids with their homework. At first, everything seemed perfect. Shanice was warm and friendly, and the children brought a lively energy to the house. But over time, Sophia began to notice subtle things that made her uneasy. Kadeem and Shanice often whispered and laughed together, and they seemed to have an unspoken understanding that excluded her. Sophia tried to brush it off, telling herself it was just sibling bonding, but a small voice in the back of her mind couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Sophia's unease grew as the weeks went by. She started feeling unusually tired every night after her usual glass of wine, falling into a deep sleep almost immediately. At first, she attributed it to stress or exhaustion, but when the pattern continued for 2 weeks, she began to suspect something was wrong. One evening, as she poured herself a glass of wine, she noticed Kadeem and Shanice exchanging a glance. It was fleeting, but it sent a chill down her spine. Sophia decided to trust her instincts and investigate. She switched the wine bottle with a new one, pretending to drink from it as usual. That night, Sophia retired to bed at her usual time, but forced herself to stay awake. Her heart raced as she lay in the dark, listening for any unusual sounds. After about 2 hours, she heard faint whispers coming from downstairs. Quietly, she slipped out of bed and crept down the stairs, her stomach churning with dread. Sophia's heart pounded as she reached the bottom of the stairs. The whispers grew louder, and she could make out Kadeem's voice, low and urgent. She peeked around the corner and froze. Kadeem and Shanice were sitting close together on the couch, their faces inches apart. Sophia's breath caught in her throat as she watched them. Kadeem reached out and brushed a strand of hair from Shanice's face, his touch lingering longer than it should have. Sophia's mind raced as she tried to make sense of what she was seeing. Was this really happening? Before she could process her thoughts, Kadeem leaned in and kissed Shanice, a kiss that was anything but brotherly. Sophia's stomach turned, and she felt like the ground had been ripped out from under her. She stumbled back, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle a gasp. The sound caught their attention, and Kadeem and Shanice sprang apart, their faces pale with shock. Sophia stood frozen in the doorway, her mind reeling. Kadeem and Shanice stared at her, their expressions a mix of guilt and panic. "Sophia, it's not what it looks like," Kadeem stammered, but his words rang hollow. Sophia's voice trembled as she demanded an explanation. Kadeem hesitated, then finally admitted the truth. Shanice wasn't his sister. She was his longtime sweetheart and the mother of his children. He had married Sophia to secure a better life for himself and his family, using her as a means to an end. The room spun as Sophia processed his words. She felt like a fool, her heart shattered into a million pieces. Shanice tried to apologize, claiming she hadn't known about Kadeem's marriage at first, but Sophia couldn't bear to hear another word. She turned and ran upstairs, locking herself in the bedroom as tears streamed down her face. The next morning, Sophia packed a bag and left the house, unable to face Kadeem or Shanice. She stayed with her best friend Maya, who listened in stunned silence as Sophia recounted the betrayal. Maya was furious on her behalf and encouraged Sophia to take legal action. Sophia filed for divorce and began the painful process of untangling her life from Kadeem's. She felt a mix of anger, sadness, and humiliation, but she was determined to rebuild her life. Kadeem tried to reach out, pleading for forgiveness, but Sophia refused to engage. As the days turned into weeks, Sophia focused on healing. She started therapy, reconnected with her friends, and threw herself into her work. It wasn't easy, but she knew she had to move forward. The woman who had once been so trusting and open-hearted was now guarded, but she was also stronger than ever. Sophia sat in her lawyer's office surrounded by stacks of paperwork. The reality of her situation was sinking in: divorce, immigration complications, and the emotional toll of untangling her life from Kadeem's. Her lawyer, a no-nonsense woman named Linda explained the process in detail. Sophia learned that Kadeem's immigration status was tied to their marriage, and if the divorce went through, he could face deportation. Despite the betrayal, Sophia felt a pang of guilt. She didn't want to ruin Kadeem's life, but she also couldn't stay in a marriage built on lies. Linda assured her that the legal system would protect her rights, but the process would be long and emotionally draining. Sophia left the office feeling overwhelmed, but determined to see it through. Over the next few weeks, Sophia and Kadeem communicated only through their lawyers. Kadeem's tone shifted from pleading to defensive, and he even accused Sophia of overreacting. His words stung, but they also solidified her resolve. She realized that the man she had married was not the man she thought he was. One evening, as Sophia was preparing dinner at Maya's apartment, her phone buzzed with a call from Kadeem. She hesitated but eventually answered, her heart pounding. Kadeem's voice was soft and pleading. "Sophia, I know I messed up, but please don't throw away everything we had. I love you." Sophia's hands trembled as she gripped the phone. "You don't get to say that to me," she replied, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. "You lied to me, Kadeem. You used me. That's not love." Kadeem tried to argue, claiming that Shanice had manipulated him, but Sophia wasn't buying it. After the call, Sophia felt a mix of anger and sadness. Part of her still loved the man she had married, but she knew she couldn't trust him again. Maya wrapped her in a hug, reminding her that she deserved better. Sophia nodded, wiping away her tears. She was done crying over Kadeem. A few days later, Sophia received a message from Shanice. It was unexpected, and Sophia debated whether to respond. Curiosity got the better of her, and she agreed to meet Shanice at a quiet cafe. The atmosphere was tense as they sat across from each other, neither sure how to begin. Shanice broke the silence, her voice trembling. "Sophia, I'm so sorry. I didn't know about you at first. Kadeem told me you were just a friend helping him with his visa." Sophia's eyes narrowed as she listened. Shanice explained that she had been with Kadeem for years and had 2 children with him. She had believed his lies just as Sophia had. Sophia felt a strange mix of anger and pity. Shanice was a victim too, but that didn't excuse her actions. "You should have told me the truth," Sophia said coldly before standing to leave. Shanice called after her, but Sophia didn't look back. She had heard enough. Sophia leaned heavily on her friends and family during this difficult time. Maya, in particular, was a rock, always there to listen or distract her with a night out. Sophia's parents, though initially skeptical of her whirlwind romance, were supportive and encouraged her to focus on herself. Therapy became a crucial part of Sophia's healing process. Her therapist, Dr. Patel, helped her unpack the betrayal and rebuild her self-esteem. Sophia began to see that Kadeem's actions were a reflection of his character, not her worth. Slowly but surely, Sophia started to feel like herself again. She reconnected with her passions like painting and yoga, and even started a journal to document her journey. It was a small step, but it gave her a sense of control over her life. Sophia threw herself into her work, channeling her energy into a major campaign for her company. Her dedication paid off, and she was praised by her boss and colleagues. The success was a much-needed boost to her confidence. Outside of work, Sophia explored new hobbies. She joined a local art class where she discovered a talent for painting. The act of creating something beautiful was therapeutic, and it helped her process her emotions. She also started practicing yoga, which brought a sense of calm to her chaotic life. As the weeks turned into months, Sophia began to feel like she was reclaiming her life. She still had moments of sadness and anger, but they were becoming less frequent. She was learning to live for herself again, and it felt empowering. Back in Jamaica, Kadeem was struggling to adjust to his new reality. His relationship with Shanice was strained, and they argued frequently. The children, confused by the sudden changes, acted out, adding to the tension. Kadeem also faced financial difficulties. Without Sophia's support, he struggled to make ends meet. He took on odd jobs, but it wasn't enough. The life he had dreamed of was slipping through his fingers, and he was filled with regret. One evening, as he sat on the beach watching the sunset, Kadeem reflected on his choices. He realized that his greed and selfishness had cost him everything. He thought about reaching out to Sophia again, but knew it was too late. The damage was done. Sophia's perspective on life began to shift. She realized that her relationship with Kadeem, though painful, had taught her valuable lessons about trust, self-worth, and resilience. She no longer saw herself as a victim, but as a survivor. She started dreaming bigger, imagining a life filled with adventure and purpose. One night, as she browsed travel websites, she stumbled upon a solo trip to Europe. It was something she had always wanted to do, but never had the courage to pursue. Without overthinking it, Sophia booked the trip. It felt like a bold, empowering move, and she was excited to see where it would take her. For the first time in a long time, she felt hopeful about the future. Sophia's trip to Europe was everything she had hoped for and more. She started in Paris, where she wandered the streets, visited museums, and indulged in croissants and café au lait. The city's beauty and charm lifted her spirits, and she felt a sense of freedom she hadn't experienced in years. Next, she traveled to Rome, where she marveled at the ancient ruins and ate gelato by the Trevi fountain. In Barcelona, she danced the night away at a flamenco show and soaked up the sun on the beach. Each destination brought new experiences and a renewed sense of joy. Sophia also met fellow travelers along the way, forming connections that reminded her of the goodness in people. She realized that the world was full of possibilities, and she was ready to embrace them. While in Paris, Sophia met Lucas, a charming French artist who was painting by the Seine. They struck up a conversation, and Sophia was drawn to his passion for art and life. They spent the day together, exploring the city and sharing stories. Over the next few days, Sophia and Lucas grew closer. He showed her his favorite spots in Paris and even painted a portrait of her. Sophia felt a spark she hadn't felt in a long time, but she was hesitant to pursue it. As her trip came to an end, Lucas asked if he could visit her in New Jersey. Sophia was torn. Part of her wanted to say yes, but another part was afraid of getting hurt again. She told him she needed time to think, and he respected her decision. Sophia returned to New Jersey feeling rejuvenated and more confident. Her friends and family noticed the change in her immediately. She was glowing, her smile brighter and her energy infectious. She shared stories from her trip, her eyes lighting up as she described the places she had seen and the people she had met. Her parents were thrilled to see her so happy, and Maya teased her about Lucas, insisting she invite him to visit. Sophia felt like a new person, ready to take on whatever life threw her way. She had faced her darkest moments and come out stronger on the other side. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, she was excited to find out what it held. Months after the fallout, Sophia received a handwritten letter from Kadeem. It was unexpected, and she hesitated before opening it. The letter was filled with remorse, as Kadeem apologized for his actions and the pain he had caused. He admitted that he had been selfish and short-sighted, and he regretted losing the best thing that had ever happened to him. Sophia read the letter with mixed emotions. Part of her wanted to forgive him, to believe that he had changed, but another part of her knew that trust, once broken, could never be fully repaired. She folded the letter and put it away, deciding not to respond. That night, Sophia reflected on her journey. She realized that Kadeem's apology was more about his own guilt than her healing. She had moved on, and she wasn't going to let his regrets pull her back into the past. Sophia's hard work and dedication at her job began to pay off. She was promoted to a senior position, leading a high-profile campaign that earned her company national recognition. Her colleagues celebrated her success, and Sophia felt a sense of accomplishment she hadn't felt in a long time. The promotion came with new challenges, but Sophia embraced them with confidence. She had proven to herself that she was capable of overcoming adversity, and she was determined to keep moving forward. Her boss praised her resilience and leadership, and Sophia felt a renewed sense of purpose. Outside of work, Sophia continued to explore her passions. She started a blog about her travels and personal growth, which quickly gained a following. Writing became a way for her to process her experiences and connect with others who had faced similar challenges. True to his word, Lucas surprised Sophia by visiting her in New Jersey. She was nervous at first, unsure of how their connection would translate outside of the romantic backdrop of Paris. But from the moment he arrived, it was clear that their chemistry was still there. Lucas embraced New Jersey with the same curiosity and enthusiasm he had shown in Paris. Sophia took him to her favorite spots, from the bustling streets of New York City to the quiet beaches of the Jersey Shore. They spent hours talking, laughing, and getting to know each other on a deeper level. By the end of his visit, Sophia felt more confident about their connection. Lucas was patient and understanding, never pushing her to move faster than she was ready. When he left, they made plans to see each other again soon, and Sophia felt a sense of hope she hadn't felt in a long time. Back in Jamaica, Shanice was working to rebuild her life. She had cut ties with Kadeem, focusing on raising her children and finding her own path. She reached out to Sophia again, this time with a heartfelt message of apology and gratitude. Shanice explained that she had been blinded by love and fear, but Sophia's strength had inspired her to take control of her own life. She thanked Sophia for showing her that it was possible to move on and find happiness after betrayal. Sophia was touched by Shanice's message. While she couldn't forget the pain Shanice had caused, She appreciated the honesty and courage it took to reach out. She responded with a simple message of encouragement, wishing Shanice and her children the best. Inspired by her journey, Sophia decided to write a book about her experiences. She wanted to share her story in the hope that it would help others who had faced betrayal and heartbreak. Writing became a cathartic process, allowing her to reflect on her growth and the lessons she had learned. The book, titled Beneath the Jamaican Sun, chronicled her whirlwind romance with Kadeem, the devastating betrayal, and her journey to reclaim her life. Sophia poured her heart into every chapter, weaving in themes of resilience, self-love, and the importance of trusting one's instincts. As she worked on the book, Sophia felt a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. She knew that sharing her story would be vulnerable, but she also knew it could make a difference. The process of writing helped her heal in ways she hadn't expected. The day of Sophia's book launch was a whirlwind of excitement and nerves. The event was held at a local bookstore, and the room was packed with friends, family, and readers who had followed her journey. Sophia stood at the podium, her heart racing as she looked out at the crowd. She began by reading an excerpt from the book, her voice steady and strong. As she shared her story, she saw tears in the eyes of some audience members, and she knew her words were resonating. After the reading, she answered questions and signed copies, feeling a deep sense of connection with her readers. The launch was a success, and Sophia felt a surge of pride and accomplishment. She had turned her pain into something meaningful, and she was excited to see where this new chapter would take her. Lucas made the decision to move to New Jersey to be closer to Sophia. It was a big step for both of them, but they were ready to take their relationship to the next level. Sophia helped him find an apartment nearby, and they spent their days exploring the city and their nights talking about their dreams for the future. Lucas's presence brought a new energy to Sophia's life. He encouraged her to take risks and pursue her passions, and she inspired him to think bigger about his art. Together, they created a life filled with love, laughter, and creativity. Sophia felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. She had learned to trust herself again, and she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she could face them with confidence. Kadeem continued to work on redeeming himself, focusing on being a better father and person. He reached out to Sophia one last time, this time with a message of gratitude. He thanked her for the lessons she had taught him, even if they had come at a great cost. Sophia read the message with a sense of closure. She had no desire to reconnect with Kadeem, but she appreciated his growth. She responded with a simple message, wishing him and his family the best. As she put her phone down, Sophia felt a sense of peace. She had forgiven Kadeem, not for his sake, but for her own. She was ready to let go of the past and embrace the future. Sophia reflected on her journey, feeling proud of how far she had come. She had faced betrayal, heartbreak, and loss, but she had also found strength, resilience, and love. She looked forward to the future with hope and excitement, knowing she was stronger than ever. She continued to write, sharing her story and inspiring others to find their own strength. Her relationship with Lucas grew deeper, and they began talking about their future together. Sophia felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't known before. As she stood on the beach one evening, watching the sunset, Sophia felt a deep sense of gratitude. She had reclaimed her life, and she was ready to embrace whatever came next. The story ends with Sophia and Lucas planning a trip to Jamaica. It was a place that had once brought her pain, but Sophia was ready to create new, positive memories there. She felt a sense of closure and was excited to explore the island with Lucas by her side. As they boarded the plane, Sophia felt a surge of excitement. She had come full circle, and she was ready to embrace the next chapter of her life. The future was bright, and she couldn't wait to see where it would take her. The camera fades out as Sophia and Lucas laugh together, their hands intertwined, ready to face the world as a team.